It has just emerged that Tottenham have taken a serious blow in their pursuit of James Trafford, and the name that could replace Vicario this summer will cost over £50 million. But look, my friend, that's not even the biggest story I have for you today. Because while Spurs are scrambling to sort out the goalkeeper situation, there are now confirmed talks with intermediaries over a striker that used to terrorize Premier League defenses, and the name is Darwin Núñez. Stay with me until the end, because there's a lot going on behind the scenes at Tottenham right now, and I'm going to break it all down for you: the details, the numbers, the negotiations, and the real chances each of these deals actually happens. And when we're done, tell me in the comments what you think about the direction Spurs are heading this summer. Let's start with the goalkeeper situation, because this one has moved fast in the last 48 hours. Tottenham had been strongly linked with James Trafford, Manchester City's 23-year-old goalkeeper, who's been on loan and catching the eye of several big clubs. He was reportedly Spurs' top target to replace Vicario. But according to Football Insider, who have a solid track record on these types of stories, Trafford has already made up his mind about where he wants to go, and it is not Tottenham. He's prioritizing Aston Villa, preferring to work under Unai Emery, and with Villa likely heading back into the Champions League, that's a very compelling project. Newcastle are the other club involved, but Villa appears to be his clear preference. Tottenham aren't even mentioned as an active player at this stage. Now, why does this matter so much? Because Vicario has been one of Tottenham's most consistent performers, and losing him without having a genuine top-level replacement lined up would be a serious problem. The goalkeeper market is notoriously difficult. You can't just plug anyone in and expect quality. Spurs need someone young, commanding, technically excellent with the ball at their feet, because team system demands a goalkeeper who is essentially a sweeper keeper. Trafford ticked many of those boxes. Losing him to Villa is a real setback, even if the official interest was never fully confirmed. So where does that leave Tottenham? Enter Robin Roefs. The 23-year-old Sunderland goalkeeper has been outstanding in the Championship this season, one of the primary reasons Sunderland have been able to compete at the level they have. He made the move from NEC Nijmegen in the Netherlands last summer and has adapted remarkably quickly to English football. He's composed under pressure, excellent with his feet, dominant in the air, and has that modern goalkeeper profile that Tottenham specifically looks for. The problem? TalkSport and subsequent reports suggest Sunderland could demand upwards of £50 million for him, and Tottenham are not alone here. Manchester City, Liverpool and Chelsea are all said to be monitoring the situation. That is some serious competition, and it drives both the price and the complexity of any deal way up. For context, Vicario himself cost around £17 million. £50 million for a Championship goalkeeper, however impressive, is a statement of intent that Spurs would need to be fully committed to. The cost-benefit is debatable, but the talent is clearly there. Financially, Spurs would need to offset Vicario's sale to make this work cleanly. If they receive a good fee for the Italian, reports have suggested figures in the region of £30 to £40 million from interested Serie A clubs, then a move for Roefs at £50 million becomes more realistic. It's not impossible, but it requires everything to align. Now, there's a legitimate argument from a section of the fanbase that spending £50 million on a goalkeeper who has never played Premier League football is too risky. And that's fair. The Championship is not the Premier League. Players who dominate in the second division don't always make the step up seamlessly. There's also a school of thought that says Tottenham should be looking at more proven, top-flight options, someone who has already played at elite level in one of Europe's top 5 leagues. The Roefs pursuit is exciting, but it does carry genuine uncertainty. So now I want to hear from you. Is Robin Roefs the right profile to replace Vicario, or do you think £50 million is too much of a gamble on an unproven Premier League goalkeeper? Drop your opinion in the comments. I'll be reading every single one. Now, we need to talk about Darwin Núñez, because the situation at Al Hilal has opened a door that very few people saw coming, and Tottenham are apparently walking through it. Darwin Núñez, a name that will immediately divide opinions among Spurs supporters. The Uruguayan striker is 26 years old, currently stranded at Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia, unable to play competitive football because of the league's foreign player quota after the arrival of Karim Benzema. According to Team Talk, Tottenham have been in contact with intermediaries about a potential deal for Nunez. Newcastle are also in the picture, and in Europe, Atletico Madrid and Juventus are long-term admirers. This is real movement, and given Spurs' desperate need for goals, it's a story worth taking very seriously. Nunez, of course, arrived in the Premier League with enormous fanfare when Liverpool signed him from Benfica for around £85 million back in 2022. He showed explosive moments, pace, power, that raw instinct in front of goal, but he never truly found consistency at Anfield. 25 goals in 96 appearances is a reasonable return, but not the numbers that justified that fee. He moved to Al Hilal, a move that raised eyebrows given his age, and now finds himself in a situation where he literally cannot play matches. He's effectively frozen out, and sources say he's open to returning to Europe. Here's where it gets interesting. Nunez is earning £400,000 a week in Saudi Arabia. That is an extraordinary wage, and no Premier League club is going to come close to matching it. But and this is crucial, reports suggest Nunez himself is open to a significant pay cut to get back to competitive European football. Al Hilal's position matters too. They may want to recoup some of their investment, or they might simply want to clear the wage off the books. The transfer fee aspect of this deal could actually be more manageable than people think, precisely because of how the situation has deteriorated at Al Hilal. This isn't a case of buying a player in his prime from a club that doesn't want to sell. This is a rescue operation, almost, and that changes the dynamic significantly. Now, the football question. Would Darwin Núñez work at Tottenham? Let's be real about this. Tottenham's system is built on high press, relentless movement, and forwards who contribute to the defensive shape out of possession. Nunez, at his best, is exactly that type of player. Explosive off the shoulder of defenders, aggressive in his pressing, physically imposing, and capable of stretching backlines. He is not a static number 9. He wants to run in behind, which is precisely what a team demands from his striker. The concern is that his decision-making in front of goal has never been reliable enough. There's a reason Liverpool, despite his energy and effort, eventually moved him on. And Tottenham's problem this season isn't just quantity of chances, it's the quality of finishing across the board. If Nunez struggles with composure in front of goal in a Spurs shirt, you're potentially in the same situation. On the other hand, at 26, he still has time to mature, and a fresh start in a different system might be exactly what unlocks his potential. Some forwards need a change of environment to fully click, and there's precedent for that in football. From a cost perspective, if he can be signed on a loan with an option or a reduced permanent fee, this actually makes a lot of sense as a calculated gamble. Spurs aren't in a position to spend £80 million on an elite striker this summer. A hungry Nunez on a competitive but manageable contract? That could be a smart piece of business. But here's the honest counterpoint, my friend. A section of Spurs supporters, and I understand where they're coming from, will point to the Liverpool experience and say this is a player with a ceiling. That the inconsistency isn't a phase, it's a characteristic. And that bringing in a striker who was ultimately sold by Liverpool, who then went to Saudi Arabia, who is now frozen out of his own squad, represents exactly the type of compromise signing that Tottenham should be moving away from, not toward. There's a version of this story where Nunez arrives, shows glimpses, and then Spurs are back in the same position 12 months from now. So I need to know, are you for or against bringing Darwin Núñez to Tottenham? Is this the calculated risk that a struggling attack needs, or do you think it's the wrong profile entirely? Let me know in the comments. This is a genuinely fascinating one, and I want to see where the fan base stands. See you in the next video.